What's up, guys? We are back with Week 15 NFL Sunday action. Let's dive in and break down all of these games and find the value out there in an action-packed Sunday. If you want to win all of your bets this weekend, hit that like button. It's good luck and shows support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. Our videos are brought to you by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NFL, college football, NBA, NCAA basketball, NHL, and the UFC. This is the single best time of the year to sign up here in the heart of the best time of the sports season with NFL, college football, college basketball, and the NBA going on. There's a link in the description of the video, or you can always just visit StumpTheSpread.com. Also, you want to be going over there to check our daily free picks, and you want to join our free email list to get the occasional free pick and occasional premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs going on the road in this one to take on the Cleveland Browns. The Chiefs come into this one 12-1 on the season. It's been absolutely insane. They just took Butker off the IR, after left knee surgery, so having their kicker back should definitely be a positive thing. They're fresh off a 19-17 win there over the Chargers. The Chiefs continue to make every game look like a coin flip there at the end, but they win that coin flip every single time. Maybe it's black magic. I don't know what it is, guys, but it has gotten pretty much out of hand. I mean, their only loss this season was that 30-21 loss there at the Bills. They barely won against the Panthers. They barely won against the Raiders, and then they barely won their last time out against the Chargers. So yeah, pretty wild stuff here from the Chiefs lately. I mean, in that very narrow win, we saw Mahomes look kind of pedestrian, as has kind of been his norm in this season. 24-37, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked 3 times. The dude has been getting sacked an unconscionable amount this season, guys. The most he's been sacked in any season in his NFL career. It has really been a huge problem. This Chiefs offensive line not looking good. He's been complaining about it, during the games. Like, you can just see it. They need to shuffle things around. Like, I don't blame him. I'd be complaining too if I'm spending half of every game buried under a giant pile of dudes. Like, it is getting pretty tough out there for Mahomes. It's been honestly kind of lucky he's been able to stay healthy. He did run the ball 4 times for 17 yards last week. Maybe we'll see him do a little bit more running here, but yeah, things have been a little bit rough for Mahomes. We saw Pachenko. He had 14 carries for 55 yards, so having him back is definitely a positive, but that's not some amazing running, performance. We saw decent stuff from Travis Kelce, caught 5 of 6 targets for 45 yards, but no banner offensive days really for anyone out there on the Chiefs. They were going up against a tough defense. That is, for sure true, but not a great day out there. They did do a good job on defense, giving up only 17 points. They had 3 sacks there against Herbert, but they struggled a little bit against the run, and yet didn't force any turnovers in the game. The Chiefs, a very, very low turnover team just over the course of the season. So definitely reason for concern there in terms of their injury report for this game. We do see DJ Humphries. He's going to be out there at left tackle. So once again, injury problems continue here for the Chiefs. Or not necessarily injury problems, but offensive line problems continue for the Chiefs. So we'll see if they can, deal with that. The defense at least comes into this game healthy, so that is certainly a positive. They're going to need everybody on deck here as they go on the road to take on the Cleveland Browns, who are now only, 3-10 on the season, but they're fresh off of a 27-14 loss against the Steelers. But this Browns team has been playing some crazy games lately as well. The Jameis Winston experience is definitely something to behold. I mean, in their loss at the Steelers, their last time out, Winston had one of those days, guys. 2 touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions, 212 yards passing, sacked 3 times. He did run the ball 4 times for 28 yards, so that's a positive. And we're seeing Nick Chubb do some positive things in the running game as well. I mean, putting up 48 yards on 11 carries against the Steelers is some pretty solid work. So not hitting that. Jerry Jeudy continues to put up good numbers. David Njoku putting up decent numbers, but catching only 7 of 13 targets, like, that's a little bit rough. So definitely plenty of room here to improve for this Browns offense, but they've done some big things this season as well. So yeah, you kind of never know what you're going to get with Jameis Winston. It's kind of like with the Targaryen. You flip a coin and you're either going to get madness that game or, amazingness. So we'll see what happens, guys. Looking at the injury report here for the Browns, it's looking pretty good on the defensive side, but on offense, things are a bit murky, guys. Cedric Tillman, he's going to be out, so missing your 3rd string or your number 2 wide receiver option. That's not great. David Njoku, questionable. We still see one guy on the offensive line questionable as well, so That's certainly not great. You really want to be giving Jameis a clean pocket as often as you possibly can. Yeah, it's a hamstring tightness that's hampering Njoku, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. His availability is pretty key in this game, and generally speaking, that Browns defense playing well is going to be key in this game. Also, they're 26th in the NFL, giving up 25.8 points per game, but they've had some decent but some terrible performances as of late. So once again, it's a little bit tough to tell with this Browns team. Generally speaking, guys, Mahomes as a favorite of more than 3 is always a good spot to fade. Luckily, luck rankings like the Browns in this game, and Kansas City's defense has the 3rd fewest takeaways, so that makes you a little bit less worried about Jameis Winston, throwing the ball to the other team. Cleveland, they're getting 4.5 points here playing at home. We've got a total of 43. The Chiefs, 3-3 against the spread on the road. They're 3-3 to the over/under on the road. Cleveland, 2-4 against the spread at home. They're 3-3 to the over/under at home. Guys, I think this is another spot. You want to fade the Kansas City Chiefs at a favorite of more than a field goal. I think it's going to be another very close game. Do they probably win in the end? Sure, I guess so. Who knows what will happen? Maybe a tornado will happen. It'll suck all the Browns players off the field. I have no idea. I'm sure the Chiefs managed to win, but I also very, very much like the Cleveland Browns here getting 4.5 points. I think it's some very solid value. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Tennessee Titans. The Bengals come into this game fresh off a win, a 27-20 win there over the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, a pretty intense game there. Things have been super rough for the Bengals this season. I mean, being 5-8 on the year for this team with this much talent, especially on offense, has to feel pretty brutal. They did play okay, I would say, against the Cowboys, not necessarily up to their, top tier of, production. Joe Burrow had a nice night, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked a couple times, but passed for 369 yards. Kind of unfortunate drama happening in his personal life with his home being robbed while he was gone. That's super, super messed up. You hate to see that starting to become like a trend of things that constantly is happening to athletes. Like, that's so messed up. Time to start hiring some, home bodyguards or something, but because that's getting out of hand. But Chase Brown had a mediocre day in the running game. I mean, 58 yards on 14 carries is definitely not terrible, but maybe not amazing. Jamar Chase, an absolutely insane day. Caught 14 out of 18 targets for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown, not a bad day there catching the ball either. He had 65 yards and a touchdown. So very good stuff. T. Higgins really taking a backseat in this game. We'll see if they go back to him a little bit in this one, but this Bengals offense, nothing to mess around with. And to be honest, the defense had a pretty nice day too, only allowing 20 points, picking off Cooper Rush once and sacking him 3 times. They did really struggle against the running game, but we'll see if that really matters in this one. They also struggled against CeeDee Lamb, which that's going to happen to a lot of teams, but generating a total of 2 turnovers here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Defense has to feel pretty good. They haven't been a great defensive team this season. Obviously, 29th in the NFL in points allowed. In terms of the injury report here for the Bengals, we see the offensive line looking a little bit banged up. I'm not sure how much that matters. This offensive line is going to be bad, whether they've got their starters or their backups in there. So I'm not too worried about that. And other than, the offensive line, this offense is pretty healthy. On defense, we do see Sheldon Rankins out there on the defensive line, but overall, not super worried about the defense here. They're going to be mediocre, whether they have their starters ready to go or not. So we'll see what they can do going on the road to take on the Tennessee Titans, who at 3-10, their season's pretty much over. They just lost the snoozer of the year last week against the Jaguars, losing that game 10-6. The Will Levis experience has been boring lately, to be honest. We'll see what he does in this one, guys. He was 19 of 32 last week, 168 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked a couple of times. Pollard really was the engine that made this offense do anything last week. He had 21 carries, 102 yards. Pretty solid stuff there. Calvin Ridley has to feel like he's in a nightmare trying to catch these passes from Will Levis. He had caught 7 balls for 59 yards out of 12 targets. That probably doesn't feel great. Just a pretty bad day there. I guess you can say the defense played well for the Titans, but going up against Mac Jones, leading the Jacksonville Jaguars, whatever is left of this offense, isn't really an amazing performance. But over the course of the season, the Titans' defensive numbers, not looking great. They've had some good performances, but giving up 26.3 points per game on average, not looking amazing. In terms of the Titans injury report, we do see Pollard on there, and that's a big concern. He's definitely their best offensive player at this point, dealing with an ankle issue. He was not there at practice there on Friday, so that's not a great look. And on defense, guys, we do see Roger McCreary. He is questionable there in the secondary. So definitely a couple questions here, but not a ton of injury concerns here for the Titans, except for Pollard. That is a big deal. But looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Titans are getting 5 points here playing at home. We've got a total of 46.5. Cincinnati, they're actually 6-1 against the spread on the road. They're 4-3 to the over on the road. Tennessee is 0-6 against the spread at home. They're 4-1-1 to the under at home. The Titans are 2-11 against the spread this season. On the second game or later of a road trip, Burrow is actually 11-4 against the spread in his career, and he's covering by an average of 4.1 points per game. Even without those stats backing it up, guys, we would love the Bengals here at -5. I think they find a way to comfortably win this game by a touchdown at least. We saw the Titans put up 6 points last week. Yeah, 6 points last week. That's not very many points, guys. I think they're going to have a struggle here on offense once again, and I think we'll see the Bengals get a comfortable win and cover. Next up, we're looking at the Washington Commanders. They're going on the road this week to take on the New Orleans Saints. The Commanders come into this game 8-5 on the season, fresh off of their bye week, but also fresh off a much-needed win there over the Titans. They won that game 42-19, so very solid stuff. But they still have a lot of work to do here at the end of the year, being 8-5 there in the NFC East. They're well behind the Philadelphia Eagles. This team is going to have, to finish this season strong. And they had a great game against the Titans their last time out. Obviously, a very good game there from Jaden Daniels. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, so something to work on there. 206 passing yards there. We saw him get sacked a couple times. Brian Robinson Jr. over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown there. And Chris Rodriguez Jr. also very close to 100 yards rushing and a touchdown for him. Jaden Daniels also found the end zone on the ground. Like a very, very nice day out there, generally speaking, from the Washington offense, especially in terms of the running game. Terry McLaurin had a nice day catching the ball. We saw the Commanders only turn the ball over that one time, so that was all pretty good. Giving up 19 points on defense there, the Titans isn't the best look, allowing Will Levis to pass for a couple touchdowns and over 200 yards and picking him off 0 times. Also not the best look, but they did generate a couple of turnovers via the fumble. So not hating on the Washington Commanders defense too much, but it's not like they've been great this season, guys. They're sitting, in the 17th in the NFL, giving up 22.8 points per game, despite playing, I'm not going to say they've played the toughest schedule. So we'll see what they can do here. Their injury report looking pretty good. The offense fully healthy for this game, so that's obviously a very big deal. And on defense, we see Darren Payne questionable there on the defensive line. Not like this is an amazing pass rushing team, so I don't think that's the end of the world, but we also noticed that their kicker unit is not fully healthy either, so that's also something to keep an eye on a little bit. So we'll see what Washington can do here going on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints, who are 5-8 on the season, fresh off a 14-11 snoozer of a win there against the New York Giants. They found a way to get the win, but Carr is going to be out for this game, so things are going to get a little bit weird. Last week, guys, Carr played pretty well, but we saw Jake Haener. He came into this game, didn't even end up throwing a pass, so that was not a huge deal, but yeah, he's going to be getting the start in this one. We'll see how it goes. Kamara didn't get very much going there against the Giants, only 44 yards on 17 carries, and caught, 5 balls for 35 yards. Like, they're going to need him to step up. They're going to need this, offensive unit in general to step up. I mean, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, only 51 receiving yards. Like, not a banner day for this offense, despite not going against a very tough defense. So, question marks here for me about the Saints. Obviously, I mean, down the stretch of this season, they're, not in a great spot at 5-8 on the year, looking like their season's probably over now with Derek Carr going down. Yeah, they're 14th in the NFL in, defense, allowing 22.5 points per game. So, that's not too bad. We do see Lattimore is going to be back here for the Commanders, so that's something that's finally happening. But yeah, a little bit of a rough way to go here for the Saints. They are not having a very fun time. In terms of their injury report, obviously we see Carr out, guys, so gonna be an interesting quarterback situation. Other than that, they are healthy there on offense, and on defense they are looking fully healthy as well, but not fully healthy in terms of the guys they were hoping would be starting this game here in week 15. So we'll see what the Saints can do here. They're getting 7.5 points playing at home. We've got a total here of 43.5. Washington 3-2-1 against the spread on the road. They are 5-1 to the over on the road. New Orleans 3-4 against the spread at home, 4-3 to the over at home. You could interest me in the over in this game for sure, guys. I think over 43.5 is some very, very reasonable value. I think we'll see plenty of offense in this game. I worry a little bit about the Saints. Obviously with a not a great quarterback option there, that does concern me. They might not put up their share, but Washington could cover this 43.5 on their own possibly. So I like the over, but I also like the Washington Commanders here at -7.5. I don't think that's necessarily a slam dunk spot. I probably lean more towards the over in this game if I'm being honest, but yeah, definitely like either one of those. Not going to be backing the Saints here with a backup quarterback under center. Next up, guys, we've got one of the biggest spreads in recent memory. We've got the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to take on the New York Giants, who are getting 16.5 points. The Ravens come into this game in need of a bounce back, fresh off a 24-19 loss there against the Eagles. Rough stuff out there, obviously. I mean, Baltimore hoping for a better result. They played a decent game. I'm not going to say they played terrible, but they were playing against a very tough opponent. Lamar Jackson sacked 3 times, but also had 2 touchdowns and 237 yards through the air. He did a great job on the ground too. 8 carries for 79 yards, absolutely killing it out there. Derrick Henry, 19 carries for 82 yards. Not the best day that we've seen from him all season, but certainly nothing to turn your nose up at. No wide receivers really distinguish themselves too much, and yeah, despite not turning the ball over, guys, Baltimore ends up losing this game 19-24. So yeah, a very, very tough loss there from the Ravens. It's been one of the best offensive teams in the NFL this season, so losing a game where their opponent only scored 24 points probably feels pretty rough. They just could not, couldn't completely stop Jalen Hurts from passing the ball. They couldn't stop the rushing attack there of Saquon Barkley, which is something that's happened to a lot of teams this season. Absolutely no doubt about that. So it was a close game. Baltimore ends up taking the loss. I don't think they should be crazy upset. Honestly, not the worst day from their defense, which has been pretty freaking bad this season, guys. Their defense is 24th in the NFL, giving up 24.5 points per game. In terms of the injury report here for Baltimore, they're fully healthy there on offense. They're almost fully healthy there on defense. We do see Washington there on the injury report at free safety. We'll see if he's back for this game. He's got a personal matter going on, and he's questionable to play in this one. So we should hopefully get some clarity on that at some point early on Sunday, but we'll see if that actually happens. But obviously, Baltimore in a huge bounce back spot here, going on the road to take on the Giants, who are 2-11 this season. Obviously, both teams are coming off of their bye week, so we'll see what happens with that. The Giants, not a whole lot to celebrate there in their bye week. They lost, in the game before their bye week, 14-11 against the Saints. They've now dropped, 8 games in a row. Like, the wheels are really coming off here for the Giants. Not necessarily the team we thought was going to be great this season, but we thought they had a chance to be respectable. That just did not end up being the case. So we'll see what they can do here in their loss against the Saints, only putting up 11 points. Not great. Drew Lock looked pretty terrible. Picked off once, 21 of 49. Like, oof. Bad numbers. Sacked twice. He did run 5 times for 59 yards. Maybe Bro should become a running back. I don't know what the deal is, what he should do with his career, but it's not looking great. Neighbors did have 5 receptions for 79 yards, so he's doing what he can out there, but only being able to reel in 5 out of 10 targets kind of tells you something about the quarterback situation that's going on there. So not great. The defense, on the other hand, did play really well against the Saints overall, holding Kamara in check, Derek Carr until he ended up going out of the game. They pretty much held him in check as well. Giving up only 14 points definitely has to go down as a very, very solid effort. Over the course of the season, they're middle of the pack. 16th in the NFL, giving up 22.5 points per game, but they haven't been a great defensive team. I'm not going to give them that kind of credit. In terms of their injury report, we do see Drew Lock. He is doubtful for this game. It looks like we're going to have Tommy DeVito under center here for the Giants, which adds a whole another layer to this thing, and the defense is very, very banged up. Guys, we've got 2 starters, probably going to be more like 3 starters out and another 1 questionable, and like I said, this has not been a very good defense over the course of the season. So looking at the numbers for this game, like I said, the Giants are getting 16.5 points here playing at home. We've got a total of 42.5. Baltimore 4-3 against the spread on the road, 6-1 to the over on the road. The Giants 2-5 against the spread at home, and 6-1 to the under at home. Double-digit favorites are 5-4 against the spread this season. Road favorites off of a bye are 77, 54, and 4 against the spread since 2004. The Ravens' defense is really bad, but they are, a pretty good team. They've won only 2 games this season, though, by enough to cover that massive number. So as little as I like this, guys, I think we have to hold our nose in this spot and take the Giants. Playing at home, getting 16.5 points. It might go back up to 17, so maybe hold off if you're, really committed to betting this one. But I definitely think the smart side of this game is going to be that underdog, but this is not a game that I have really any interest in being involved in. I don't trust the Giants very much at all, and I don't really trust the Ravens to take this game super seriously, so pretty much just a stay away spot for me. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Dallas Cowboys. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Carolina Panthers. The Cowboys come into this game 5-8 on the season, fresh off a 27-20 loss there against the Bengals. It's been a bit rough. This hasn't been an easy season here for Dallas. They have not had the year they envisioned. They probably didn't. You weren't thinking their starting quarterback was going to go down this year, and they thought maybe, I don't know what they thought, honestly. Like, this was not ever destined to be a great season for Dallas, but the wheels have come off a lot more than even I thought they would. Last week, Cooper Rush, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, only 183 yards passing, and barely completed more than half his passes. He was also sacked 3 times. The only reason this game was close was because they were against a terrible defense that absolutely could not slow down Rico Dowdle at all. He had 18 carries for 131 yards. Yeah, no touchdowns, but very, very good stuff. They also couldn't slow down CeeDee Lamb, who had 6 receptions for 93 yards, caught 6 out of 7 balls, and also had a touchdown catch. So pretty good stuff from Dallas there on offense. Not that it was enough to get the job done, though. They really couldn't, on defense, pressure Joe Burrow the way you would have expected them to. He was only sacked twice in the game. Chase Brown did a decent job moving the ball against them, and generally speaking, the Bengals offense probably should have put up more than the 27 points that they did. So, not exactly loving what we saw from Dallas. They come into this game not fully healthy there on the offensive line. Cooper Abibi is going to be out for this game. You losing your center is not ideal, and on defense, guys, we see Nick Virgil questionable, Eric Kendricks questionable, so the linebacker core very unlikely to be at full strength, and we also see the secondary might be missing Jordan Lewis. So that's not great, guys. We also see that Diggs is going to be out for the rest of the season at cornerback, so that definitely lowers what we can expect here from this defense. So we'll see what they can do going on the road to take on the Carolina Panthers, who come into this game fresh off another loss, but fresh off of another cover, guys. Their last time out, they lost to the Eagles 22-16. So a very close game. The Panthers played well once again. We saw continued good stuff there from Bryce Young. Not amazing. He was picked off once, 191 yards, but only sacked a single time, and he did run for 29 yards. So some positives there cropping up among the myriad of negatives that were piling up for him early on in his career. So nice to see him playing a little bit better. Chuba Hubbard continues to put up very good running stats, guys. 26 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown for him last week against a very solid Eagles defense. Also having Adam Thielen back is a huge deal for this team. He caught 9 out of 11 targets for 102 yards. Very, very good stuff from him. Somebody that deserves to be getting much more recognition for what he's doing when he's out there. I mean, the dude is old and he is killing it. So expecting continued, decent stuff here from the Panthers on offense. On defense, giving up only 22 points against the Eagles. Not the worst look. Nobody's been able to stop Saquon Barkley this year, so I'm not, faulting them for not being able to do it either. Jalen Hurts did have a pretty big game, so maybe a little bit more could be done to slow him down in the running game, but didn't give up too much in the pass, and they didn't generate any turnovers. So the Panthers defense hasn't been great, but they've been a bit better over the last few weeks, not looking like that last place defense that we've seen from them. They're healthy on offense coming into this game, guys. On defense, we do see some question marks, guys. Trevin Wallace is going to be out there at linebacker. We see, the other two starting linebackers are questionable, and J.C. Horn is going to be questionable there in the secondary. So looks a little bit unlikely that this mediocre defense is going to be anywhere close to full strength for this game. So that's definitely a concern. A little bit worried about the Panthers here. The odds makers, though, made the Panthers 3-point favorites. We've got a total here of 43. Dallas 3-3 against the spread on the road, 3-3 to the over/under on the road. Carolina 3-3 against the spread at home, and 5-1 to the over at home. Guys, at +3 here, we probably have to go ahead and take Dallas. If it gets, below 3, down to like 2.5 or 2, maybe you could talk me into the Panthers, but with injuries there on their defense, I think this is just a spot we want to stay with the Cowboys and the points. In terms of that over/under, maybe lean a little bit towards the over since I'm not a big fan of either one of these defenses, but I think the spot in this game is definitely where you want to be on the Dallas Cowboys getting 3 points. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the 3-10 New York Jets. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jets come into this game fresh off a 32-26 loss there at the Miami Dolphins. Things have not looked great here for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers continues to deflect blame, although he is coming off of probably his best game of the season and his best game there in a Jets uniform, possibly. He passed for 339 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 3 times. We saw decent stuff in the running game. Allen and Davis both putting up, just over 40 yards on 10 carries, and they found the end zone. So a little bit of a positive there in the running game for the Jets, who haven't had a great time running the ball this season. Both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson played really well in this game, each getting over 100 yards receiving. So good stuff there from the Jets on offense, and it was not enough, guys. They ended up losing in overtime against the Dolphins. So not great. They gave up, over 300 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns to Tua while sacking him 0 times. The Dolphins didn't really seem too interested in running the ball, but the Jets could not slow down Tyreek Hill, who finally had one of those games, guys, 115 yards and a touchdown for him on 10 targets, and Waddle was right there with him, 99 yards on 12 targets. So very good stuff from, the Miami Dolphins offense. Not a lot of good stuff from that Jets defense, who hasn't been nearly as good this season, since firing Robert Saleh. They're down to 20th in the NFL, giving up 23.1 points per game. In terms of the injury report for the Jets, we see Breece Hall questionable, Tyler Conklin questionable, and we've got 2 starters questionable there on the offensive line, which is clearly a pretty big deal. You gotta protect Rodgers if you want him to do anything positive. So we'll see if they can do that. That we also see they're going to be missing DJ Reed there at corner in this game, so not going to be at full strength there on defense. But maybe that won't matter here as they go on the road to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are now 3-10 on the season. fresh off of a really gross win there in a 10-6 game against the Titans. But yeah, 10-6. I mean, I don't know, guys. This was quite the slog fest. Mac Jones, pretty freaking bad. Picked off twice. Did complete 23 of 31 for 220 yards. So I guess there's some positives there. Tank Bigsby, 18 carries, 55 yards, and a rushing touchdown, but no major success there in the running game either. Brian Thomas Jr. did have 86 yards receiving. That's probably the biggest positive here for this offense. 10 points, you win the game. Congratulations. I don't think you can count on that all the time. The defense played really, really well, albeit against, Will Levis and Tony Pollard and, that Tennessee offense. They didn't really do a good job stopping Pollard, so will they be able to stop the Jets' running attack? Seems a little bit questionable to me, but we'll see. A little bit of a tough spot here, guys. The Jaguars on defense have not been good this season, obviously, but they do come into this game pretty healthy there on offense and pretty healthy on defense, and that's a big deal at this point in the season. So looking at the numbers, we see the Jaguars are getting 3.5 points here playing at home. The Jets 2-4 against the spread on the road. They are 4-1-1 to the over on the road. Jacksonville 2-1 against the spread at home and 3-2 to the over at home. Evan Ingram out for the season after shoulder surgery. Mac Jones has played better at home, and since their by 3-point loss to Houston and their win against Tennessee, Jets secondary, not really amazing to me, guys, and I think this is a spot we have to take the Jaguars and the points here playing at home. I'm expecting decent stuff from Jacksonville, maybe a little bit of a bounce back there from Mac Jones, and that shouldn't take too much more than that, and I also think we'll see a letdown here from the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. So go ahead and give me the Jaguars here at plus 3.5. You could also maybe talk me into over 40.5, but I think the Jaguars and the points is the way to go in this one. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Miami Dolphins. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Houston Texans. The Dolphins come into this game fresh off of that much-needed 32-26 overtime win there against the Jets. Probably not a game that was supposed to be quite that close. The Jets played amazing. The Dolphins' defense really struggled, but we saw Tua have a good day, a very good day. 331 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 0 sacks. Miami didn't do too much there in the running game, but we did see both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle have big, big days there in the receiving group. So, yeah, if those two can get going, all of a sudden this is looking like one of the more scary teams out there. And at 6-7 on the year, they are by no means eliminated there from playoff competition. In terms of the defense, obviously that was not a very good day. And on the season, guys, this Dolphins defense just barely above average in the NFL. So not expecting miracles from the defense necessarily. They come into this game a little bit banged up on the offensive line. We see Armstead doubtful there at left tackle. We see Kendall Lamb. He is questionable there at right tackle. Will these guys play? Definitely still a chance, but looking pretty unlikely there for Armstead. So you have to be a little bit concerned about Tua. You got to keep him upright or his maybe entire freaking life is in danger. In terms of the defense, they are fully healthy for this game. So that's definitely a step in the right direction because they're going to need to play well on defense here as they take on the Houston Texans, who come into this one fresh off of a, well, not fresh, guys, fresh off of a bye, but fresh off a 23-20 win there against the Jaguars. Obviously playing that close of a game against the Jaguars, maybe not the best look. In that win, we saw C.J. Stroud look okay. Not amazing, but okay. 22 of 34, 242 yards, 1 touchdown. Sacked a couple of times. Mixon continues to be the reliable part of this team. 20 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. So they need to run the ball if they want to find success. They also got to get it to Nico Collins. He had 8 receptions for 119 yards, but no touchdowns last week. So we'll see what they can do in this game against definitely a much, much better team. On defense, they did a mediocre job at best against Jacksonville, giving up 2 passing touchdowns there to Mac Jones. They didn't do a good job of stopping the run there from Jacksonville, and yeah, that's why they could have definitely lost this game down the stretch. So we'll see what Houston can do in this one. They're looking slightly, on offense, guys, Juice Scuggs, he is going to be out for this game at left guard, so that's not ideal. And yeah, we do see, that they've got that one guy, that linebacker, suspended for trying to kill Trevor Lawrence, apparently. So we'll see how the defense looks, but they haven't necessarily been an amazing defense over the course of the season, sitting somewhere around the middle of the pack, giving up 22.2 points per game. But I was very much unimpressed with what I've seen from them on defense over their last couple of games. So looking at the numbers for this one, we see the Texans actually 2.5 points here playing at home. We got a total of 46.5. Miami 3-3 against the spread on the road, 5-1 to the under on the road. Houston 2-3-1 against the spread at home, and 5-1 to the under at home. Guys, first up, I do like the Dolphins here getting 2.5. That's fine. If that's the play you want to take, go for it. Don't feel obligated to dive in on this one with me, but a play that I really like with the trends that we're seeing, I think I might have to go with the under 46.5. I loathe playing under spots, but when the trends are pointing at it this hard, there's plenty of reason to think we could see a low-scoring game here with what these teams have been doing as of late. go ahead and give me under 46.5 in this game as well. I wouldn't fault you for just wanting to take the Dolphins. I wouldn't fault you for wanting to stay away from this, total, but I definitely am going to be on that under. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Indianapolis Colts. They're going on the road in this game to take on the Denver Broncos. The Colts are 6-7 on the year, not out of it by any stretch. They're coming off of a tough 1-point win there against the Patriots, so they'll take it. But my God, games against the Patriots are not supposed to be that tough. We're not necessarily in love with what we saw from Anthony Richardson in that game. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, only passed for 109 yards. Like, there's a reason they were oscillating back and forth between wanting to start this kid and wanting to start an ancient guy in Joe Flacco. So we'll see how things look in this game. Jonathan Taylor going to need to have a good time out there. He had 25 carries for 96 yards and was most of the reason that they won there against the Patriots. I guess Richardson did have a rushing touchdown, so got to give him some credit there. And throwing for 2 touchdowns is nice, but you kind of want to throw the ball to the team that has the same color jerseys on as you, bro. That might improve and prolong your NFL career. Nothing too nuts there in the wide receiver group for the Colts. Obviously, when you pass for only 109 yards, people aren't going to put up crazy numbers. And just Jonathan Taylor really has to have good games for this team to prosper. On the defensive side, giving up 24 points to the Patriots is bad. They had 4 sacks. They did force 1 interception, but not a good day out there at all. They really, really struggled to stop the Patriots' running attack. So that's definitely a concern in this one. Going on the road to take on the Broncos. The Colts come into this one a little bit banged up. We see Josh Downs questionable. We see Mo Ali Cox questionable there at tight end. So not going to be the full complement of skill players, and the defense not looking banged up, but also hasn't been looking great over the course of this season. To be honest, they're 19th in the NFL, giving up 22.9 points per game. So we'll see what they can do on the road here against the Broncos, who are now 8-5 on the season, winners of their last 3 in a row. I'm not going to say it felt like a miracle, but kind of a miracle win and cover there for Denver against the Browns their last time out, a 41-32 win. The recipient of a lot of love there from Jameis Winston. Denver, maybe they had him confused because he was throwing the ball to the wrong team. Bo Nix had a bad game. He's definitely in a bounce back spot after getting picked off twice. He did pass for nearly 300 yards and a touchdown while not being sacked, but got to limit those mistakes. Didn't hate at all what we saw from Jaleel McLaughlin, guys. 14 carries, 84 yards from him. It would be very nice if they could develop a running game here in Denver. And Marvin Mims Jr., 3 catches for 105 yards, having a 93-yard reception mixed in there will really help. And Courtland Sutton, a big day for him, also right there over 100 yards receiving. So good stuff from them on offense. The defense had one of their worst games in recent memory, allowing Jameis to throw 4 touchdown passes. They did pick him off 3 times, so that's nice, but those were the only turnovers they garnered. And giving up 32 points, not something you usually see from this Denver defense that's been amazing this season, currently ranked 2nd, giving up 18 points per game. So look at the numbers here. We've got the Broncos at -4. We've got a total of 44 out there. We're going to be looking at the over-under primarily in this game, guys. When both teams are coming off their bye, which both of these teams are, the under is actually 22, 10, and 1. We see neither team really showing massive trends here towards the over or the under, so we're going to go ahead and stick with that, guys. That is too big of a trend to ignore. Give me under 44 in this game. I think it's a very good spot. Denver tends to play very low-scoring games. I don't trust that Colts offense at all, so give me the under here today. Next up, guys, we're looking at one of the marquee games of the day. We've got the Buffalo Bills going on the road in this one to take on the Detroit Lions. The Bills come into this game 10-3 on the season, fresh off of a really, really brutal loss there, a 44-42 loss there at the Los Angeles Rams. Allen played his heart out, guys. He is the only thing that keeps this offense going, and man, does it go. He counted for 6 total touchdowns, 342 yards passing, 82 yards running on only 10 carries. The guy just looks unstoppable out there. I don't know what to say. The Rams defense isn't the toughest, but my God, that was a transcendent performance. We did see Kahil Shakir catch 5 out of his 8 targets for 106 yards, and Amari Cooper also had almost 100 yards receiving, so he was getting a little bit of help out there in the passing game, but Jesus, dude, the guy just looked insane. Also sacked 0 times, so take that for, what it's worth. Very good day out there for the Bills on offense, but the defense was so bad they end up taking the loss. They couldn't slow down Stafford, they couldn't stop Kyron Williams, and they really had absolutely 0-1 negative a million answer out there for Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp. So, a little bit scary here, guys, for the Buffalo Bills. They continue to have a rough time out there when they're playing against good opponents. Their injury report doesn't look horrifying for this game, although on defense, things are getting a little sketch. We do see Dalton Kincaid. They're questionable at tight end, but we see, a corner, a safety, and a free safety all questionable here. Will these guys play? It's still a little bit up in the air, but will they be at 100%? That seems like a pretty much a straight up no. Douglas, Douglas is now confirmed out. So there's a little update for you. Rasul Douglas is going to be out for this game. We do see Taylor Rapp. He is questionable there, dealing with that neck/shoulder issue. And Hamlin, guys, he is questionable there as well with a back problem. So we'll see if they play, but definitely not looking like any sort of lock that they'll be even close to full strength there in the secondary, which could be a problem as they take on the Lions, who come into this game fresh off a 34-31 win there against the Packers. Detroit 12-1 on the season. They are absolutely killing it right now. I mean, yeah, not a whole lot of notes for me about Detroit except for that they're good. Jared Goff, a nice day. 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception, 283 yards through the air, and sacked only a single time. Montgomery and Gibbs were both very good there in the running game. Maybe not elite, but good. And going against that Packers defense, not the easiest nut to crack. Jameson Williams, 5 receptions, 80 yards for him. Very good stuff out there. Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to, at least pretend to be content being in the decoy role. We'll see. He's bound to have a breakout game here eventually. In terms of their defense, giving up 31 points to the Packers, not great. They really did struggle a little bit against the run, but they didn't give up any crazy numbers, so I'm not too worried about this defense yet, and they just continue to, have more time to figure things out. Obviously, this is not, the unit they thought they would have on the field at this point in the season. They dealt with a ton of injuries, and speaking of injuries, guys, we do see the offense is fully healthy, but we also see, guys, they're going to be missing probably one starter there on defense. Being without one linebacker isn't the end of the world, but things are getting a little bit tight out there in the Detroit, just in general in their defense. Looking at the numbers, the Lions are 2.5-point favorites. We've got a total here of 54.5. Buffalo 4-3 against the spread on the road, 4-3 to the under on the road. Detroit 4-3 against the spread at home, and 4-3 to the over at home. But guys, totals of 55 or more points, and we've got a total here of 54.5, 55 in some places, are 23-10 to the under all the way since back in 2019. I think this is another great spot to look at the under here. Detroit doesn't play that crazy high scoring of a game, and yeah, they're not going to let Josh Allen go nuts out there, so definitely go ahead and give me the under in this one. I think it's a very good spot. That is a trend that I'm more than happy to back. Next up, as we cover this very deep slate of games, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Steelers come into this game fresh off a 27-14 win there against the Browns. And yeah, guys, they're cruising right now at 10-3 there in the AFC North. They're looking to lock this thing up. In that 27-14 win against the Browns, we continue to see good stuff there from Russell Wilson. 2 touchdown passes, 158 yards, only sacked 1 time. Still not looking to run the ball a ton, but did technically have 6 rushes for 17 yards. So you got to give him a little bit of credit there. Not too bad. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, both had good days running the ball. Nothing too crazy. I mean, obviously, Pickens being down there is not good for this passing game, but there is reason for optimism, guys. Saw, some decent stuff out there from various guys, and I don't think we need to be too worried. Like Russell Wilson, he will spread it around. He'll throw it to whoever he needs to. And on defense, giving up only 14 points against the Browns, also having a couple interceptions, 3 sacks, slowing down, if not stopping, Nick Chubb. Like, this is a very good day. And, totaling 3 turnovers, very good stuff here from this Pittsburgh defense. It's been among the best defensive teams in the NFL this season. In terms of their injury report, the big news is George Pickens confirmed out for this game with that hamstring issue. No reason to rush him back. This season is going pretty well, and they don't need to mess with that too much. We also see, going to be missing defensive end, and they're going to be missing Deshaun Elliott there at safety. So not ideal on the injury report here for the Steelers as they go on the road to take on the Eagles, who are now 11-2 on the season, fresh off a narrow win there against the Panthers. At 11-2, they're in command there in the NFC East, but I have some question mark. I mean, they did get a win against the Ravens, so congratulations. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown continue to seemingly have, a problem out here. Hurts just doesn't seem very capable of getting the ball down the field. 2 touchdown passes last week, but only 108 yards, sacked 4 times. Saquon Barkley is the real motor that makes this offense go, and he's been insane. 20 carries, 124 yards last week. The dude is confirmed an absolute monster. In terms of their defense, giving up 16 points against the Panthers, 1 turnover, but really struggling a bit against the run there, and not having great answers there for Adam Thielen. Have me questioning this Eagles defense here just a little bit. I mean, over the course of the season, the numbers certainly are not bad. Tied for second, giving up 18 points per game. So looking at the numbers for this one, we'll see what they can do. The Eagles are 5.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 43. Pittsburgh 5-2 against the spread on the road, 5-2 to the over on the road. The Eagles 1-4 against the spread at home, and 4-1 to the under at home. Guys, we're going to get back here on the over. I think this is going to be a game with plenty of offense in it. Over 43 doesn't sound crazy crazy to me whatsoever. Is this going in the pinned comment? I would say maybe not. It seems a little bit questionable to me, but I do think we'll see some offense in this game. And getting over 43, not really that hard there at the end of the day. Next up, guys, we got the New England Patriots. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Arizona Cardinals. The Patriots come into this game fresh off that tough loss, that 1-point loss against the Colts. They've lost their last 3 in a row. Some of them have been close. Some of them have been not so close. Obviously, this was never a Patriots team that was looking to super, compete this season. Drake May, looking like a decent quarterback, though, has been a nice find for them. 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against the Colts last week. He was sacked 4 times, but he also ran 5 times for nearly 60 yards, so that's definitely a positive. We also saw New England just move the ball pretty well there on the ground. Stevenson and Gibson both having very good days, so they'll be hoping to continue that. Definitely not a team that wants to throw the ball a million times, but they'll do it if they need to. I don't think they care too much about the results this season. I think here at the end of the year, they'd probably be more happy to lose than to win, so we'll see what they do there. The defense was pretty bad last week. Picking off Anthony Richardson doesn't feel too special. Getting, ran on by Jonathan Taylor, that's going to happen to a lot of teams, so not super high on the Patriots on defense, where they are allowing an average of 23.6 points per game. In terms of their injury report, guys, it's not looking great. We got a couple guys questionable there on the offensive line. The defense is also looking pretty banged up, guys, with injuries at every level. We'll see who plays and see who doesn't, but not loving the injury report there from the Patriots as they go on the road to take on the Cardinals, who are now 6-7 on the season. Losers of 3 in a row, really has messed their stuff up there, losing to the Seahawks twice. They're now down to second to last place in the NFC West, and it's going to be a long, hard climb to get back to the top if they possibly can. In that loss against the Seahawks, guys, we didn't necessarily love what we saw from Kyler Murray. Picked off twice, 2 touchdowns, also sacked twice, and didn't do anything that impressive with his legs. James Conner tried to pull this team to a win, 18 carries on 90 yards for him, but not enough there. Trey McBride looked good there in the receiving game, but Marvin Harrison Jr. seems to still only be good for like 50 yards per game. That is not usually going to get the job done. In terms of their defense, giving up 30 points against Seattle, not the best look. They just had no answers whatsoever there for the running game, so that is a big, big problem. And yeah, looking at the injury report, guys, the Cardinals are healthy on offense, a little bit banged up there on the defensive line, but healthy on defense otherwise. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Cardinals 6-point favorites. We got a total here of 46. New England 3-3 against the spread, when they're playing on the road, 4-2 to the under on the road. Arizona 4-3 against the spread at home, and 4-3 to the under at home. Guys, I think this is probably a spot you want to be on the Patriots and the points. I think they find a way to keep this game relatively close. Do I have enough confidence in this one to put it in the pinned comment? I would say that I do not. You could also talk me into under 46 here, as neither team really wows me that much offensively, but the Arizona Cardinals defense, really neither defense wows me too much. So yeah, just go ahead and give me the Patriots and the points here as a small play. Next up, we're looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They go on the road in this game to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Buccaneers are 7-6 on the season, winners of their last 3 in a row, fresh off of that 28-13 win there against the Raiders. So they'll definitely take that one. They need all the wins they can get, but right now they are 7-6 on the year, a full game up on Atlanta there in the NFC South. We liked what we saw against the Raiders, generally speaking. Baker Mayfield doing his thing out there. Getting picked off twice is not the best look, but 3 passing touchdowns, nearly 300 yards to the air, despite getting sacked 4 times, is definitely not a bad look. We liked what we saw from Rachaad White on the ground. We liked what we saw from Sean Tucker there on the ground game. So if this team can run the ball, that takes a lot of pressure off of Baker there. Cade Otton had a good day, 70 receiving yards, caught a 44-yard pass there. Mike Evans not being asked to do a ton here, but I do think he will be asked for a ton in the playoffs. But yeah, he caught 4 out of 5 balls for nearly 70 yards himself. So good stuff out there from the Chargers on offense. On defense, giving up only 13 points, forcing a turnover, getting a sack in there. Two total turnovers forced, only 13 points allowed. That has to go down as one of the best weeks the Buccaneers defense has had this season. So we'll see if they can carry that over here as they go on the road to take on the Chargers, who are now 8-5 on the season, fresh off of a loss against the Chiefs. A very, very tough loss, no doubt about it. But yeah, things have been a bit problematic here for the Chargers this season in that loss against the Chiefs. And I'm not saying they didn't get off to a good start, because they did, but when you look at their strength of schedule, it becomes like, oh, okay, well, they beat these teams. Like, I'm not going to freak out too much. Justin Herbert last week, or his last time out in that game against the Chiefs, 1 touchdown pass, 213 yards. Gus Edwards, nobody could really get going on the ground game, which is a huge problem for this team that is definitely designed to at least want to be running the ball, and they were not really able to do that against the Chiefs. A big part of why they ended up just barely losing this game. But looking at their defensive numbers, giving up 19 points, but they couldn't slow down the run. They couldn't slow down any really individual there in the passing game, but only gave up 19 points. So I guess it's not the end of the world. But yeah, in general, how do we feel about the Chargers on defense? Not amazing, guys. They're a good team. They put up some good counting stats. When you look at their, the success or lack thereof they've had against good teams, it's a little bit glaring. And when you look back at their entire schedule, they've played a very, very easy one. So what can they do here at home, guys? They're 3-point favorites. We got a total of 45.5. Tampa Bay 4-2 against the spread on the road, 4-2 to the over on the road. The Chargers 4-2 against spread at home and 3-3 to the over/under at home. Guys, I think this is a good spot to look at the over. I think we're going to see some offense in this game. I think we'll see the Chargers offense get going a little bit. We are nervous on this one, guys. I mean, Herbert is now off the injury report, but McConkey still on there. So definitely for this overplay to be valid, we're going to need to see McConkey be healthy out there. But definitely think this is a spot you want to lean towards the over more than anything else. Last but not least here, guys, we've got the Green Bay Packers. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Seattle Seahawks. The Packers are 9-4 in the season, fresh off a tough 34-31 loss their last time out against the Lions, losing to the Lions by a field goal. Probably doesn't feel very good, but my God, it should give you a lot of confidence here headed into the back part of the season, because that is the probably best team in football right now. In that loss, we saw Jordan Love do some very positive things. 1 touchdown pass, 206 yards, 0 interceptions, only sacked once. Christian Watson did fumble it away once. That was a big deal there, kind of canceling out a lot of his 114-yard performance. Josh Jacobs did a decent job moving the ball against one of the toughest defenses in the NFL, so got to give him some credit there. And overall, putting up 31 points, even against the banged-up Lions defense, is very, very good work. So we'll see if they can carry that over here. I mean, the defense did struggle against the Lions. Goff had 3 touchdown passes, only the 1 interception. They also could not stop the running attack there of Montgomery and Gibbs, but really, who has been able to stop that this season? Generally speaking, their injury report looks good, though. That's a big bonus here for the Packers. No starters out there on offense and on defense. Things are also looking decent, but maybe not great. We do see Alexander probably going to be out there at cornerback, and Bullard probably going to be out there at safety. So not ideal news here as they go on the road to take on the Seahawks, who are 8-5 on the season. They have won 4 in a row, but wins against the skeleton crew, the 49ers, the Cardinals, the Jets, and the Cardinals again. Maybe not amazing. They do currently find themselves in the top spot there in the NFC West, at 1 loss ahead of the Rams there. So we'll see if they can hold on to stuff. But yeah, not necessarily a team I'm really excited about. In the 30-18 win, we saw Geno Smith throw 1 touchdown pass and 233 yards. Not amazing. He also didn't do anything on the ground. Zach Charbonnet, he is the reason they won this game. 22 carries, 134 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. This team can get the job done when the running game works. Jackson Smith and Jigba, a big day from him. 5 receptions, 82 yards, and a touchdown. So we'll see if the Seahawks can continue that kind of role here. Could be a little bit harder going up against the Green Bay Packers, I will say that. In terms of their defensive numbers this season, I'm not going to throw you a parade. Even though you're technically ranked 11th, it seems they're getting a little bit better here down the stretch, but maybe their schedule is just getting weaker down the stretch as well. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, guys. Looking at the numbers, we see the Seahawks are getting 2.5 points at home. We've got a total here of 46.5. Green Bay, they're 3-2 against the spread on the road, 3-2 to the over on the road. Seattle, 2-5 against the spread at home, and 4-3 to the under at home. Guys, I think this is a game we're going to be wanting to look at the over 46.5. I think we see plenty of action, plenty of offense out there in Sunday Night Football, and I think getting to 47 total points, not too crazy. I think it happens the vast majority of the time in this game. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports, betting,